Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Princeton, where in our open and welcoming community, we live our message of hope, love, justice, and joy. We extend a special welcome to our visitors this morning. We're very happy that you've joined us, and we'd love for you to stop by the newcomer table after worship so that we can get you more information about our congregation and our many different ministries and programs that we have happening here at UU Princeton. Again, welcome everyone to UU Princeton this morning. A few announcements before we begin worship. The first is that we had our great big giant spring sale yesterday. It was a huge event. It's a big outreach event, a rummage sale, a yard sale. We sell a bunch of stuff and all of the proceeds go out of the door in grants to different groups that do good work in our community. Scores of volunteers help make that happen. So if you had any role whatsoever in making the spring sale happen yesterday, will you please rise so that we can properly thank you? And a special thank you to our main staff support of the spring sale, who is the wonderful Jorge there, our sexton. New this year with the raffle with the spring sale was we had an associated raffle which raises money for the congregation. That raised almost $1,000 for UU Princeton, so thank you very much for buying your raffle tickets. Everything else will go out the door. In the early totals, it takes a while to figure out exactly what was raised, but so far we've raised over $32,000 that will go out the door. And there are just two follow-up announcements for it. One is that someone bought a really cool accordion but did not get the case. So if you need the case to go with the accordion that you bought, please contact the church office and we can get that to you. And secondly, there are still lovely plants available for sale right out there in Robinson Lounge. You can see them. Mother's Day is coming up. A plant's always a great gift, so if you'd like to buy some of those plants, please do so, and those will continue to benefit the spring sale. Again, thank you everyone for making that huge event happen. And then it's always amazing that the building goes back to normal by Sunday morning. It's unreal that that happens. Thank you so much for that. Another announcement is if you'd like to help our immigration and sanctuary ministry team, they are looking to support a Venezuelan refugee family living in West Trenton who is without a car. They need temporary help with preschool drop-off and pickup for a 3-year-old, as well as transportation to the 3-year-old's weekly physical therapy appointment. If you'd like to help, please email me this week and I'll put you in contact with our immigration and sanctuary ministry volunteer leaders who can help you help them. Also, our men's group is meeting, but we had the wrong date in our e-happenings. That group meets on May 11th and 25th at 9:30 in the Founders Room. They always meet on the second and fourth Sunday of every month. And we now turn to our chalice lighting, which we light this morning in honor of the life of Carl Haig, longtime member of our congregation. Carl joined UU Princeton in 1965, and he died on April 23rd at 96 years of age. He leaves behind his wonderful wife, Reverend Carol Haig, and his kids, Cindy and Ken. Carl was warm. He was known for his friendship, his intelligence, his generosity, and his great sense of humor. He will be greatly missed by this congregation and by UUs throughout the region and throughout the nation. We know what Carl did here for UU Princeton, but he also blessed a lot of UU institutions and bodies throughout our region with his very, very generous life. So we will celebrate Carl's life probably in July, maybe in August. We'll be sure to send that date out July 27th. We will celebrate it on July 27th. We will send that out in an email soon so that you can mark it on your calendar. But for today, we will light our chalice in honor of Carl, in love for him, in love for Carol and Cindy and Ken. And let us join in the unison affirmation printed in your order of service. For my ally is the force, and a powerful ally it is. Life creates it, makes it grow. Its energy surrounds us and binds us. Luminous beings we are, not this crude matter. You must feel the force around you, here between you, me, the tree, the rock, everywhere.
Any more witches here? Come on up. We need a whole cauldron of witches. Is this thing working? Yes. Okay. Alice's class, get up here. Yay. I see some children. This is good. I need to move over. What we need is stagehands. Alice is our resident Maypole movement expert. Maypole engineer, yes. Yes. Is the mic on?
Yeah. Try it now. Try it now. I think it was just low.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Once upon a time, there were 4 little bunnies. And their names were Flopsy, okay? We're good? That's right. Cottontail, yes. They lived with their mother in a sandbank. But I digress. So, yes, Alice is showing these people what to do, I think. So that is more or less covered. And you have a piece of paper with lyrics on it. If you have ever sung Christmas carols, you know this tune, but we're going to sing it a lot faster and jollier. After all, it's merry, gentlemen. Because on the holiday known as Beltane, which is all about fire and passion and having a rollicking good time, we dance the maypole. Okay, so it is incumbent on those of us who are not dancing to sing, because you can't really do that and dance the maypole at the same time unless you have studied assiduously in advance. Okay, we're good. I'm sorry.
Okay. So, folks who are holding where's the other purple ribbon? There. Okay, folks who have purple, red, and green are going to be going clockwise, and people who have blue, yellow, and red are going to be going, orange are going to be going counterclockwise. So somehow or another, we're not in order because Nate, I see you're facing the wrong way. Or maybe, okay. People who have their right shoulder in, please raise your hand. Okay, it should be every other one. I know we only have 12 ribbons here. Why are we not getting this? Okay, alrighty. So now, if you have your right shoulder in, you are going to go under. If you have your left shoulder in, you are going to go over. Next instruction. This is very important, especially for people who like to be first. Do you see the person facing the same direction ahead of you? Yes. That would be Florence. Do not pass them. If you go under first, you'll go over the next person you meet. If you go over first, you'll go under the next person you meet. What? Okay? Now we're ready to go.
Here we go. We celebrate the coming of the glory of the spring. The goddess has awakened, we await the summer king. So give to winter as in wonder now we sing. Blessed be, Beltane is here again, Blessed be, Beltane is here again. The season now is turning and the days are growing long. The weather's slowly warming and the sun is bright and strong. So circling the dance with us and join us in the song. Blessed be, Beltane is here again, Blessed be, Beltane is here again. The earth's no longer frozen and the rivers running smooth. The goddess has awakened and renewal is her gift. So as we dance and praise her voices now we live. Blessed be, Beltane is here again, Blessed be, Beltane is here again. The green has come to tree and the winter's chill is gone. May summer yield a bounty for us all to feast upon. The darkness comes so long and dirt has given way to dawn. Blessed be, Beltane is here again, Blessed be, Beltane is here again. Blessed be, Beltane is here again, Blessed be, Beltane is here again. Blessed be, Beltane is here again, Blessed be, Beltane is here again. Woo. Okay. It looks great. So we have a spoken bit at the end. Are we ready to do that? Hang on. Ready, set, go. Here, you can read too at the bottom. The weaving is done, the May has begun. So reach the air and touch the ground and greet your neighbors all around. Blessed be.
Indeed. indeed. Thank you again to Cups for leading our maypole ritual again this year. The pole there itself, the ribbons will be taken off, and then it'll be burned as part of our Yule celebration in December. And then the holiday tree that we put up in December, that trunk will be saved until next May, when we'll do the maypole then. So we use that tree, Cups, I should say, uses that tree all year long. Thank you for that. We have two readings this morning. The first is from the Gulag Archipelago by Alexander Solzhenitsyn. The line separating good and evil passes not through states, nor between classes, nor between political parties either, but right through every human heart and through all human hearts. The line shifts. Inside us, it oscillates with the years, and even within hearts overwhelmed by evil, one small bridgehead of good is retained. During the life of any heart, this line keeps changing place. Sometimes it is squeezed one way by exuberant evil, and sometimes it shifts to allow enough space for good to flourish. One and the same human being is, at various ages, under various circumstances, a totally different human being. At times, one is close to being a devil, at times to sainthood. And our second reading is a poem titled Prayer at the Opera by Patrick Donnelly. I had already been weeping quietly for half an hour at the Academy of Music by the time Ulysses finally made it home disguised as a beggar. He was begging for his son to recognize him, to know him, and the boy longed to, but a whole kingdom hung on this, and he was afraid to love a fraud. When the Croatian baritone stretched out his hand to the boy, quivering, thin, and lonely on the other side of the stage, and sung his name softly, Telemaco, Telemaco, mio diletto. It was as if the floor of the world tilted the boy into his arms. And because I thought I heard my father calling, I thought all the voices were my voice, begging, you, who made it easy for me to weep, lend the gift of tears to a man my mother said cried 2 times, when Kennedy was shot and at my birth. It appears as though May 4th fell on a Sunday in 2008 as well. I don't remember that particular year, but I remember the overall event because I would find out that a bunch of Unitarian Universalist ministers were preaching Star Wars-themed services on May 4th titled May the 4th Be With You, playing off the familiar blessing, May the Force be with you, from the Star Wars movies. I liked the idea, but had stumbled across it too late at that point, so I tucked it away for next time. The next time would turn out to be 2014. And even though I planned the worship calendar and look at each Sunday and try to flow things together in a thoughtful way, I did not notice that Sunday, May 4th could be May the 4th be with you until literally that morning when I glanced at Facebook and saw a bunch of you ministers posting, May the 4th be with you, greetings to the world. Many were preaching it. I was, again, far too late. But the third time was a charm, as my brain made the connection in here 2025 in time to get the topic in the pulpit. And while I felt pretty good about catching it this time, I also knew that I wanted to partner with Jason McSheen in particular in the service. I know that he has an affinity for the topic and knows more about it than I do, and personally I just like to hear Jason's reflections. So thank you, Jason, for, in the middle of a very, very busy life, splitting the sermon with me this morning. I'm doing the first small piece, Jason will do the second. And yes, when the next Sunday, May the 4th happens, that'll be in 2031, if I catch it in time, there will indeed be a trilogy of reflections as appropriate for the series. But I thought of that too late this year. The scene that first stuck with me was the trash compactor scene. The good guys were trapped in a giant room-sized trash compactor in a spaceship that belonged to the bad guys. They were trying to get off of that ship and back to the good guys' ship when, in their escape, they found themselves trapped in the trash. It was being compacted, which meant that the good guys would be crushed as the walls slowly crept in. 2 good guy robots who were on the outside could hear all this through a walkie-talkie thing, so they, I would now say, hacked into the spaceship's computer to try and turn off the compactor. It was taking a few minutes to do that. All the while, the good guys were steadily running out of space and scurrying up on top of the trash to have a little more time before being crushed. And the tension was building to see if the robots would save the good guys or not. This was in the first Star Wars film that was released, which for many, many years I assumed was the first in the Star Wars story. That turned out to be wrong, as much later 3 prequels would be released that led up to the original trilogy, and then 3 sequels would be released that also continued the story after the trilogy. Somehow, though I watched that original trilogy dozens and dozens of times, I never noticed that the films were labeled episodes 4, 5, and 6. Indeed, this one, A New Hope, was episode 4, inferring that there had been a previous hope, perhaps unpacked in the to-be stories of 1, 2, and 3. But I never thought of that. I just thought of this one as Star Wars, followed by The Empire Strikes Back, followed by Return of the Jedi, released in 1977, 1980, and 1983, respectively. I loved those movies, and at one time could recite quite a bit of the dialogue in them. My friends did too, and many an afternoon and weekend were spent running around the woods in western Pennsylvania and later on in Virginia, dodging the stormtroopers of the Empire and rushing to save the universe. We did this lying in the leaves to ambush the bad guys and climbing trees to fire down upon them and using our tree limb lightsabers to duel the evil Darth Vader and come out victorious every time. Many a summer day was spent on our bikes, flying up and down the steep hill upon which our trailer park was situated in Pennsylvania, pretending that we were flying spaceships, chasing the bad guys and shooting them down. I can only imagine now that the adults in the neighborhood knew to look for us as they drove up and down that hill to and from work and home. Later, our setting in the woods would match the setting of Return of the Jedi, where much of that film takes place in a rich, dense woodland world populated by Ewoks, which are these adorable, eventually good guy creatures that look like a cross between a koala bear and a brown bear. I say eventually good guys because everyone forgets that when they first came across the good guys in the movies, they tried to cook and eat them alive. But one of the robots saves the day by pretending to be a god and demanding that the good guys get released. The Ewoks do so and become good guys. Bad becoming good is a recurring theme in the series, as is good becoming bad. One who is good has some evil within them. One who is evil also has a divine spark. This becomes the story of that third film when Darth Vader has helped trap Luke before the Emperor, who's the main evil guy. Vader and Luke have spent the first 3 films up to that point chasing each other around, with Luke narrowly avoiding death at Vader's hands. But now, with Luke trapped and the Emperor actively killing him, we see Vader with a choice to save Luke, who is also his son, or to serve the Emperor, who has become something like a father to him, an evil father, but still a father. The son, with what could be his dying words, keeps faith in his father to save him, which the father does. Vader throws the Emperor down some big space shaft to his death. Vader gets electrocuted in the process, and his time is nearing its end, but not before he and Luke gaze upon each other as father and son, with Vader's face unmasked for the first time. They kind of fall into each other, and Luke struggles Vader's body onto his ship and escapes to the Ewoks planet as the Empire, now Emperor and Vaderless, crumbles. Vader is given a proper burial as Luke's father and Leia's father. And as the movie closes, we see his spirit, along with some of the others who have died, sitting with the living, celebrating peace and prosperity and freedom that has come to a land where good has won out in the end. Except as we would find out, it's not the end. It's never the end. There is always more to come. So the message of the movie becomes to celebrate now while we can. This scene speaks to me of living fully in the company of ancestors and the presence of beloved ones right now, to not wait for some perfect time to celebrate something, but to be grateful for life in this moment and this one and the next one. There are struggles behind us and struggles to come, and even this moment might be one of difficulty, but even that life is still a gift to be enjoyed with others and with song and with dance and with a feast. And in so many moments of the original trilogy, it seemed as though that good moment may never come. Indeed, in the first one, it looked like they would be crushed in the trash compactor, but some good guy robots saved them and they live. Dirty, scarred, probably kind of smelly, but they live. And they become a team that lives for each other later in that film and definitely in the ones to come. Almost crushed in the trash and almost killed by evil again and again, their lives become intertwined with one another's, and that circle expands to even include Ewoks, and they live for one another. Those moments of bliss at the end are built on those moments of uncertainty throughout, as the walls are crashing in and all seems lost. But it's not lost, though. It's never lost. Whether it's friends from afar keeping the walls from crushing us, or the love of family, birth, or chosen saving us in the end, we are alive with the love of others. And our love brings others to life too. In our hymnal are the words of Albert Schweitzer, who wrote, "At times our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us." Indeed, in Star Wars, we can see again and again people and creatures and robots lighting the flames of goodness within one another, even those thought to be beyond redemption, even those thought to be beyond the good, for they are not beyond the good. No one in the eyes of heaven is beyond the good. And as the only heaven that we can influence is what we have here on earth, we too must live, speak, and act with the faith that no one is beyond the good. And be it a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, or right here, right now, we are each other's only hopes for lives of peace and safety. We are not a new hope, but we are today's hope. And may the force be with us as we work to bring freedom, justice, and peace to lands and lives near and far.
Well, it's been a while since I've been up here, so it's first thanks to Reverend Bill for inviting me back. And a few things before I jump in. One, I didn't know that Pauline last week was going to start talking about Star Trek, and so now I have the hard task of following up on her, as well as Reverend Bill, which is really difficult for a nerd like me. And I'm glad that Reverend Bill called me a nerd, but in nicer terms, but I am happy to use the word Star Wars nerd or anything like that. Yeah, I see some cheers out there. Thank you. All right, and as a Star Wars nerd, I can talk about this for 5 hours, so buckle up. We're gonna go from A to Z on this. No, I'm kidding. All right, so almost exactly 26 years ago, in May 1999, a new era began. The original trilogy of Star Wars, as Reverend Bill stated, released in 1977, 1980, and 1983, followed Luke Skywalker and his friends in their great adventure to topple the evil Galactic Empire. We learned about the Force, we heard tales of the now extinct Jedi Order, we feared the might of Darth Vader and the Emperor. We met the wise little green puppet named Yoda, who was exiled to a swamp planet. Backwards like this he spoke. But what was it like before Luke? Who were the Jedi? How did everything go wrong? The 13-year-old me was more than ready to learn the answers to every single question I had about Star Wars and more. Armed with my knowledge, my equally excited brother, and probably at least one piece of tie-in merchandise from Toys R Us, I marched into the movie theater behind my apartment complex, marched down the aisle, and sat in my chair. I was ready. I think we had some popcorn between us too. If you've ever seen a Star Wars movie, you knew what to expect. First, you hear the LucasArts big boom, right, of the audio effects that they had. And then you would hear silence for a second. Then, bum, ba-da-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-dum, bum, bum. And then the opening story crawl started slowly moving up the screen. Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I was so ready. Oh my God. Turmoil has engulfed the Galactic Empire. The taxation of trade routes to outlying star systems is in dispute. Hoping to resolve the matter with a blockade of deadly battleships, the greedy Trade Federation has stopped all shipping to the small planet of Naboo, while the Congress of the Republic endlessly debated this alarming chain of events. The Supreme Chancellor has secretly dispatched 2 Jedi Knights, the guardians of peace and justice in the galaxy, to settle the conflict. Just, as you all acknowledged, just what every child was excited to learn about, me and millions, our collective dream, taxes, trade routes, blockades, negotiations. We're so ready for this. But thankfully, we soon saw our very first Jedi Knights in action. Not Luke, who was awkward and stumbling and kind of figured out something along the lines in Return of the Jedi when he fought his father. But no, these were real Jedi Knights with lightsabers and ones who were actually trained. A teenage Obi-Wan Kenobi and his mentor named Qui-Gon Jinn. Indeed, they did some negotiation, but they did it with style. Lightsabers, force powers, Jedi robes, the world of Star Wars had been expanded. And at the core of this new prequel trilogy, released through the early 2000s, was the story of Anakin Skywalker. In Episode 1, he is only a young boy. Anakin was a slave boy owned with his mother by a junk salvage trader on a desert planet, Tatooine. Obi-Wan and his mentor Qui-Gon Jinn sensed great latent ability within Anakin. Ability and talent that fuel the belief that he is the chosen one, the one that will fulfill the great prophecy. In episodes 2 and 3, we see Anakin develop as a Jedi and into a young adult, and his eventual downfall. In this prequel trilogy, we also learn important truths. The Jedi were an incredibly powerful and well-meaning religious group. For tens of thousands of years, their order was considered one of goodness and light. They followed the way of the light side of the Force, only resorting to fighting when it was the last option. They saw the goodness in all species of the galaxy, and were highly multicultural and multi-ethnic in their composition. They were seen as peacekeepers, negotiators, healers, scholars, and increasingly soldiers in war. They once had a sworn enemy, the Sith, who used the dark side of the Force to employ destruction and war to selfishly build power for themselves. There are many takes on what the journey of Anakin Skywalker means. Anakin was indeed adopted into the Jedi Order at a relatively old age. His natural talent and abilities were also mirrored by only legends. Anakin grew from a boy to a young man alongside his friend and mentor Obi-Wan Kenobi. And Anakin grew frustrated. He saw how skilled he was with a lightsaber and how skilled a pilot he was with a starfighter. Yet his early life outside the Order imprinted on him the importance of passion and compassion. The Jedi Masters were weary of this. Anakin had feelings. He was fully human, one who had suffered and knew pain. But because of this pain, he knew the importance of hope. He could harness his struggle and pain to do things that no other Jedi could. Anakin's love for his mother and his friends drove immense power. The Jedi teachings, inspired in part by the Buddhist understanding of attachment, encouraged its followers to eschew romantic and familial connections because both can cause fear. Understandably so. And it wasn't really until I had a child that I personally understood what real fear was. To quote Yoda, "Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering." And it was this strict detachment that became their downfall. With millennia of relative peace under their belts and the extinction of the evil Sith, the Jedi had become complacent. They could only ever imagine the moral arc bending towards justice. They could only ever see the light at the end of the tunnel. They were dogmatically steered away from letting their visions walk too closely to the edge. They, and much of the galaxy, had taken democracy of the Galactic Republic for granted. And most importantly, the Jedi had lost touch with the people. The spiritual and martial strength of the Jedi was not felt by the people on the ground. Becoming increasingly detached from the pain and suffering from the poor and hardworking peoples of thousands of worlds, the Jedi Order became more of an ivory tower institution than a service-based one. Simultaneously, the Jedi Order, which was never designed to be a military, was pulled to be generals in a galaxy-wide war. They were stretched too thin. A maturing Anakin Skywalker sensed it. Yoda, Obi-Wan, and others did too. They began to sense the dark side settling in and manipulating them all. But they could not see how until it was too late. The arrogance of the Jedi led them to believe that they could see all threats. And it was the ignorance of the Jedi that led them to believe that they had completely defeated their fascist, racist enemies. The ideas and principles of the Sith Empire were long dead and buried, believed the Jedi. Unfortunately, it was the trust in the Jedi, faults and all, that led to the downfall of democracy and the rise of the Empire. The Jedi believed that they had defeated evil, so they had lost the will to look for it. And when they did look for it, they had lost the will to call it by its name. And when they did call it by its name, they lost the will to fight it. Knowing this, the clandestine Sith, embodied in just two people, a master and an apprentice, used wit, deceit, wealth, and even the levers of democracy itself to overthrow the Republic. With decades of planning and examining the weakness of the Republic and the arrogant Jedi, the Sith were patient and calculating. Anakin was seen as one of the most bold and brave Jedi throughout the galaxy. He was famous for helping the defenseless and connecting to people in a way that other Jedi were cautioned from. The Sith turned Anakin Skywalker's fear against him. The young leader was prophesied to, quote, bring balance to the Force, and it was the arrogance of the Jedi to believe this meant to fully destroy the dark side. It is the arrogance of both the light and the dark to believe in complete destruction over the other. What is a world of complete dark? Scary? Maybe. But what is a world of complete light? Stagnation, complacency, boredom? Neither are good on their own. They are two interdependent sides of each other. George Lucas had always claimed that Star Wars had been inspired by religion, science fiction, and geoglobal politics of Earth. In these days, it is hard not to see reflections of the prequel trilogy in today's political landscape. The Jedi were oblivious to the evil surrounding them, believing that a certain brand of greed and hate had been gone for thousands of years. Their order was destroyed, and democracy collapsed when the Senate handed over their power to the Chancellor, who then established himself as the Emperor. He systematically converted an imperfect republic to a racist galactic empire that aggressively denied alien rights and only empowered humans. The few remaining Jedi went into hiding as the Empire hunted them down and their teachings were forbidden. These Jedi in exile waited nearly 20 years for a new hope to strike back at the Empire and to see the return of the Jedi. Their only plan was to rely on the next generation to come and hope for the best. To think this all started because of an unfair taxing of trade routes and negotiations is a little nerve-wracking to me, but while I personally see some parallels here, I must be hopeful. We have seen what the arrogance of good, well-meaning people can bring. We cannot allow ourselves to be blind to those who demonstrate their true intentions, or deaf to the words of those we find distasteful. None of us are immune to the shadows where these dark philosophies grow and become darker and stronger. Anakin was the best among the Jedi because he did struggle between the light and the dark. He was unafraid of connection among those who stayed away. In us all are the power of Anakin Skywalker and the Jedi. In us all are fear and hope, love and suffering, courage and cowardice. The balance makes us human. Being human makes us relatable, and being relatable connects us to our community, our country, and our world. The world relies on us finding the strength to carry on. May we all find our balance when we face desperate times. May we all bolster each other up in those times of need. And most importantly, may the Force be with you and us all. Thank you.
And at the end of our hour, we extinguish our chalice, knowing that its light carries us until we gather again. Go forth grateful for the moments before you, the breath within you, the people among you, and the Spirit guiding you toward lives of love and kindness. And go forth knowing that you are held always and always with everyone else by that great love of no beginning and never ending. Go in peace, and amen.